Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic, and that is about proteins. We are going to talk about protein powders. And there are two kinds of protein powders which are available in the market. One is whey protein and other is plant protein. There is other egg-based protein also which is there. However, we are not going to talk about that protein powder, okay? Because these are the two commonest forms of protein powders which are available in the market. And there are a lot of questions which keep rotating around these protein powders. Okay, so let's talk about what is the difference between whey protein, plant protein, whether I should use a whey protein, whether I should use a plant protein, um, whether whey protein is better, plant protein is better. We'll discuss about all this. And just for information, whey protein is basically obtained from milk, and plant protein is obtained from plant sources. So let's dive deeper, okay, into this discussion, and let's talk about what this protein powders is all about. Okay, so this is the difference between whey protein and plant protein. So whey protein is typically obtained from milk and typically cow's milk in the process of cheese process. Okay, so when they are making cheese during this process, whey gets separated, and from there this protein is extracted. There are various forms of whey proteins that we'll be talking about in our subsequent discussion also. Okay, whereas if you see on the right side, this plant protein, this is obtained mainly from plant sources. Now it can be obtained from brown rice, peas, soy, sprouts, grains, and other sources. But more or less, these are the sources from which the plant protein is obtained. Now, one very important difference between whey protein and plant protein is something called as BCAAs, or branch chain amino acids. Okay, and these are typically valine, leucine, and isoleucine. Okay, and these branch chain amino acids are very, very important, especially for muscle building, and that's the reason that this whey protein is particularly used by those people who go to gym because they want to build the muscles. And these branch chain amino acids are very, very important for building muscles. Now, these BCAAs are less in plant protein compared to whey protein. And that's why whey protein, if you take it theoretically, it's more superior, it's more better, it's more complete, and it also has 9 essential amino acids. So along with this branch chain amino acids, this has all the 9 essential amino acids as well. Whereas plant protein may not have, unless you have extracted it from different sources, and that is how you have compiled it together so as to have the 9 essential amino acids. Okay, but more or less, whey protein is always going to have the 9 essential amino acids. Along with that, branch chain amino acids also, and that is why it is very good for muscle building compared to plant protein. But that doesn't mean that plant protein is not going to cause muscle building. It can still cause if you choose a good quality plant protein. Okay, now typically if you see a whey protein, the scoop size mainly will range somewhere between 30 to 45 grams. And out of that, you will get around 20 to 25 grams of protein usually. Okay. Plant protein, the one which I use, that is a 10-gram scoop, and it gives 8 grams of plant protein. So if you compare with whey protein, if I take 30 grams of plant protein, then it is going to give me 24 grams of plant protein. Okay, so more or less the concentration of protein which I am taking, whether it is plant or whey, it's more or less the same. Okay, but yes, there are some plant proteins wherein the dose might differ. Okay, it might be the scoop size may differ and the concentration of protein may differ. So I'm just talking about the one which I am using, but there are different plant proteins which are available in the market, because of which the dose of protein within the that plant protein source might differ. But for whey protein, it is usually around 20 to 25 grams minimum. Okay, this contains sugars as well as fats, and these are needed because post workout we need some amount of sugars. Okay, and this also contains some amount of fats, and we need fats also. Okay, plant proteins also may have sugars, and if it is artificially prepared, then sometimes they might add artificial sugars. But more or less, if it is natural, then the sugar content is going to be very, very less, and fats are almost going to be non-existent, because plants do not contain much of fats. And that's the reason that you will not find fats, in plant proteins if they're naturally extracted, unless they have added it artificially. Now, when it comes to bioavailability, means the amount of protein that is going to be digested, whey protein has a superior digestive quotient. Okay, so the bioavailability of whey protein is much more compared to plant protein. But yes, the one which I am using, it has a PDCA score. PDCA score means protein digestibility corrected amino acid score. It is a quotient of digestibility. it is one. Okay, that means almost 95 to 98% of it is digestible. Okay, so that's a very good quality of plant protein which I am using. And but most of the plant protein which are available in the market, their bioavailability is somewhere around 74 to 82. Okay, that means the digestibility part is going to be less on the plant protein for majority of the plant proteins which are available in the market. Now let's talk about what are the benefits. There are a lot of benefits which are common for both. Okay, like for example, first is improves the body composition. What do you mean by body composition? It's basically going to increase your muscle mass, it's going to increase your bone mass, and it will help you in fat loss also. So you can see here it helps in weight loss, definitely, and you will find that your bone mass, muscle mass is increasing and fat mass is actually dropping down. This is true for both whey protein as well as plant protein. But yes, the muscle strength, the performance, increase in performance, especially athletic performance, this is going to be much more superior when it is coming to whey protein. Typically, if you are doing workouts, then yes, whey protein is definitely something that you should take. And yes, you can always add a blend of plant protein also in your daily routine. Coming to the advantages of what is the plant protein advantages. Now, let's say somebody has some intolerance to milk. Okay, they have some intolerance to lactose. They are not able to take it. Their enzyme actually, lactase enzyme, is not there in the GI tract. So they will not be able to digest the lactose part of it. So for them, plant protein becomes a good option. And somebody who is a vegan, okay, who do not take any animal products, for them, this plant protein option becomes very, very good. Plant protein also improves the body composition. It can also increase the muscle strength. But yes, with whey protein, it's much more compared to the plant protein. It will also help in weight loss for sure. Now, both they will help to improve the fatty liver also. Now, how it improves the fatty liver is liver is going to use these proteins and it is going to mix it along with the fats which are there in the liver to form something called as lipoproteins. Okay, and that is how the fats which are deposited in the liver that will start dropping down, and that is how it will also start reducing the triglycerides also. So you will see that your lipid profile actually starts improving once you are on a good high protein diet. Along with the dietary sources, you're also taking a protein powder as well. It will start improving your liver health. It will start improving your lipid profile. It will start dropping down your HbA1c. So it is very, very important to actually reverse your lifestyle diseases. So these are all the benefits of whey protein. Now, what are the problems which are associated? Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, there are problems which are associated with whey protein as well as plant protein also. And we need to understand what are these problems associated with. Okay, so first is digestive issues. And these are very common with whey protein particularly. Okay, so what we should understand is that if somebody is lactose intolerant, they are going to face these digestive issues. And in that case, there are other forms of whey protein which will be helpful for them. For example, whey protein concentrate is the commonest form of protein which is used. And this contains around 35 to 80 grams of protein. But along with that, there is lactose also in it. There is sugars also in it. There is fats also in it. So what they can do is that they can switch to something called as whey protein isolate. Now, this whey protein isolate contains almost 90 to 95% of the proteins. This is a more refined form of proteins. And in this, you basically eliminate the lactose part almost completely. It is completely removed. Even the fats are removed and even the sugars are removed. So this is more or less a complete protein, exclusive protein source, which these people can use. And typically it is used by athletes also, bodybuilders also, because they are getting more concentration of proteins. So they can switch to this, or they can actually switch to plant protein as well. Okay. Now, digestive issues are possible in plant proteins also. Sometimes some people may have issues with pea, and if the protein is extracted from pea also, then they may sometimes have digestive issues because of the pea in it. Now, there can be allergies. And allergies is cow's milk allergy. Now, digestive issues will manifest in the form of cramps. They may have bloating. They may have excessive gases. And I've seen this happening in quite a few people. But if you're using isolate, then these problems actually can drop down. Sometimes you may have cow's milk allergy, and they may land up with pain in abdomen, sometimes vomiting also. So these allergies if you have, then definitely switch to plant protein. That is a better option. Okay. Sometimes you may have allergies with plant protein also, typically to soy and gluten. Okay. If wheat is used as a source, okay, then allergies to gluten can happen in case of plant protein. Constipation is something which can happen in both, and typically this constipation happens because you're probably taking more of proteins, you're probably on a more like a keto diet, and you're having less of fibers. Your fruits, vegetables, probably you're having less, and because of which you have landed up with constipation. So you make sure that you have enough fiber in your diet so that you do not land up with this constipation part. Okay. Kidney damage, although there are no proven literature, but yes, nephrologists won't agree on this. And I've seen quite a lot of nephrologists who are very, very apprehensive about using protein powders, and they completely say no, no, no. They usually say that no to protein powders, most of them which I have met. Okay, there might be some nephrologists who might agree with using the usage of protein powders, but yes, kidney damage is a threat. Definitely, it can happen. And this happens because the kidney is not able to filter that much amount of proteins. If you're taking proteins in excessive quantities, then the kidneys might not be able to filter those proteins. And that is how, the kidneys can get damaged because of overload. And this can happen for plant protein also, whey protein also. And I have seen this, okay, in one or two patients, okay. And that is the reason what we have to understand is we have to check our creatinine levels. We have to also take age into consideration. If you're particularly more than 50 years of age or you have some renal problems, then you have to be really judicious. If you're on old age, check your creatinine levels and keep checking it. Okay, if you're taking plant proteins or whey protein also, and keep checking your creatinine levels, every 2 monthly, and see if your creatinine is stable in spite of taking the proteins. If it is stable in spite of taking the proteins, then probably you're tolerating the protein in a better way. And if you're on an older side, typically 50 plus, start with smaller dosage of proteins, and then slowly and steadily you start increasing the dosage of proteins as you can tolerate, and if your creat is within normal limits. Okay, so understand this. But yes, kidney damage can happen. Okay, now there are other things which we have to consider when it is coming to kidney damage. We have to understand that in India, almost 65 to 70% of this market of supplements is spurious. Spurious in the sense that whatever has been mentioned in the label, it may not be actually there. And sometimes this can be a racket as well. You will see that the protein box is there. The labels are also good, excellent. But actually the entire product within the whey protein, within the box is replaced completely. Okay. And this is a very big racket. This was caught also. And basically they mix something else instead of the protein powder. So you will see that a very good quality of protein powder dabba is there, but actually what is there inside is completely different. So that can also lead to damages, kidney damages, and other side effects which are probably not associated with whey proteins or plant proteins also. Okay. So be judicious that you are ordering the right kind of proteins. Do not order online from Amazon or 1mg and all that. You make sure that you're ordering the protein directly from the manufacturer or from some authentic source which you are aware of. Okay. Then the next thing is about osteoporosis. Okay. Now, this is a problem which can be associated with whey protein. Although I don't think I have not seen much, but yes, theoretically it has been mentioned. And the reason for this is because whey protein is acidic in nature. And when we are taking whey protein to neutralize these acids, then there is calcium which is used. And this calcium, if it is less in our blood, then excess calcium is actually extracted from the bones. And this calcium is used to neutralize the acids which are there. So these are theoretically, yes, it can happen. But if your vitamin D levels are good, if your calcium absorption is good, and your levels in the blood, calcium levels in the blood are good, then this threat of osteoporosis is more or less theoretical rather than practical. Okay. Last but not the least, we should also understand that if you have some liver problems, then you should understand ultimately this protein is going to break down and it is going to form ammonia. Understood? Okay. And this, neutralization of ammonia takes place in the liver. And if you have some liver issues, then liver is not going to be able to neutralize this ammonia, and your ammonia levels are going to rise up. If you have a liver disease, typically if you have cirrhosis of liver, or probably you are having some grade 3 fatty liver and your liver is not functioning properly, then in that case, you are going to land up with this problem. So you be judicious in this. Maybe a small dose of protein is fine, but if you're taking protein in higher quantities, then the ammonia levels are going to rise, and it can lead to encephalopathy, okay, which you want to avoid. Okay, so in a nutshell, now which protein to use, you choose. Okay, if you're a vegan, go for plant protein. If you're lactose intolerant, go for plant protein. Okay, if you have some allergies, cosmic allergy, if you have some digestive issues with whey protein, then plant protein is a better source. Okay, you can also have a mix and match like I do. I do not have any allergies, nothing, but what I do is I do a mix and match of whey protein and plant protein both. Okay, and that suits me, and that is what I use in a majority of my clients as well. Okay, so I hope this video actually clarifies a lot of details and differences between whey protein and plant protein. But yes, having said that, today I can see that protein deficiency is very, very common. And if we are adamant, and if we are saying that, no, I will try to maximize my protein intake just through my diet, it's going to be sometimes very, very difficult. Okay. And I recommend usage of plant proteins. But yes, if you're using proteins, then make sure that they are coming from authentic source. I hope this video helps you. And thank you very much for listening.